Hi, Morgan Chen here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about internships and some tips to get some really good internship opportunities, or at least to try to get some phone screens. Yeah, that might help to get some type of reply. Just giving some tips about things I did, or just in general what you can do to help you look out for the internships coming up and to track everything. So I'm gonna start off talking about resumes. That is so important. On my website, I noticed the main page that gets the most hits is my resume. That's what everyone kind of goes to and they want to see it first. You also have to submit it a lot of times in your applications for internships. So some advice here I would say is to look at the resumes of the people who have jobs that you want or internships that you want, and see what they did that worked for them and what you can do. One thing I'll say a lot through this video is that if it's not broke, don't fix it. I'm not saying go out and copy people's things. I don't agree with that. I don't believe in that. But I do think you need to understand what these companies are looking for, and what better way to do that than to look at the resumes of people who already have jobs or internships there. So go to their websites, go to their LinkedIn and look at their resumes. And what I would do is collect resumes. And I used Mural for this, and I had a couple boards. So I had a board that was just resumes. And so all the companies I was interested in, I tried to collect a bunch of different resumes from those companies and see what was common themes through those things. What are some things that stood out? And I make note of those. And then when I've got a good list of things that I feel like, okay, this is what these companies are looking for, I then went and edited my resume. So some things that I noticed was that there's a lot of white space and really good use of white space. It was very clean. You didn't feel like every inch of the resume was crammed with something, some information, something, like it's just too much, right? So they got straight to the point. They highlighted the jobs they had, the companies they worked at, what they did at those jobs with numbers and metrics about the change that they brought into those roles. They talked about their skills. They had school, like what school they went to. They did projects. Some people had projects, but the big thing was it was very clear. It was very concise. There wasn't too many bullet points. There weren't all these different fonts. So try to use like one, maybe two fonts, and just use different weights for the fonts instead of having different fonts for everything. Have consistent bullet points. Try to start off with really powerful verbs. So look up action verbs that you can use to kind of vary it to make it a little bit more interesting. Make sure you have metrics and numbers in a lot of your resumes. That could definitely be helpful. And have people look over it. Send it to people who work at those companies and try to see, you know, their opinions on it. They'll tell you what they think. They'll give you feedback. A lot of people are so nice like that. So for resumes, that's kind of what I noticed, and I just collected those things and I found the style that worked for me, and that's what I used, and it really helped me to get some great internships. Another thing, if you're trying to get design internships, a portfolio is a huge part of that. That's probably the next thing that they're looking at, and so many tips here. I think I might have to do a separate video just for portfolios because it's a lot. So I'm just gonna give general tips and then I'll circle back to that at another time. But one thing is the Mural again. So I used Mural to create a portfolio before I committed to creating my portfolio. So I did the same thing that I did with resumes. I went to sites like CoFolios. I also looked at Best Folios, and I went through those companies that I wanted to work for, and I went through the portfolios of the people who were working there. I went to LinkedIn, I looked at actual employees of the companies, and I collected pages of portfolios that I liked, or just whole portfolios that I liked. So I'd screenshot pages I liked, I saved portfolios I liked, and then I started looking for patterns. I know you're thinking, wow, this is a lot. Yes, but it works, right? If it's not broke, don't fix it. Stop trying to make and invent your own way to do this. It's not necessary. And honestly, recruiters have like 1 minute to look at your portfolio and they're gonna speed through it. So what they need to find needs to be very clear. And a lot of these people have already figured out the formula, so you don't need to refigure it out, right? So I had this collection and I started to make note of similarities that I noticed on these portfolios that I needed to have in mind. Again, I do not copy people's portfolios, and I do not think that you should do that. Put your own spin on it, but some things just need to be there, right? Like app screens and certain orders and certain flows need to be there. Prototypes need to be there. Descriptions of what you did versus what your team did needs to be there. That kind of stuff is really important, and you'll see as you start to look at these portfolios, these commonalities. So it's not about like, oh, they laid it out this way, so I need to lay it out that way. I mean, not necessarily. It's more so about what high-level information needs to be in here and how do I call attention to this information. So look at co-folios, look at best folios, collect portfolio pages, portfolios that you like, take notes of those things, and then start to make your own. So then I went to Mural, and that's when I started to draft like 1 or 2 versions of my homepage, 1 or 2 versions of like a case study page. Because I found that if I would go into this website editor and make the whole page and then realize, oh, this doesn't work, I have to start all over, and it's just too high of a level of commitment. So you can use Adobe XD. I liked Mural because I could just quickly drop pictures and different things in there. It doesn't matter. But I made a draft of like my whole homepage. And I think I made like 3 different versions, and I got feedback from my peers, my mentors, and I was like, okay, here's what I'm thinking, what are your thoughts? And I went with the one that I felt best represented my personality and that best was understandable for them, with readability and just finding the important things that they needed to know if I was qualified for the job. And so then I built that page. Then I went to my case study pages and I did the same thing. I kind of made an outline of how I wanted it to look. I did maybe 2 of those, I got feedback, and I went with the one that I felt was best well received. And then I made it. So it saved me a lot of time from having to go in there and then realize halfway, this is not exactly what I wanted it to look like. It just wastes time. And the editors drive me crazy because sometimes they're not super user-friendly. I mean, they're not the best. I do use Wix, which I'm not in love with, but it works. Though their new editor X is really nice. I do like that. So yeah, and that's what I did. So I would give that same advice to you, is really overhaul your portfolio, and then I would get people to look at it. Get feedback again from your peers, your professors, whoever you can, people in the design industry. People have been putting out like one-on-one sessions lately to mentor students. Go to those and get feedback from your portfolio and make those edits. Granted, you're gonna get a lot of feedback, right? And some of it will be conflicting. So you're gonna have to decide what feedback moves you towards your goal and what feedback is just distracting. Because some people will say things and it's like they'll say like, oh, I think your hero image, it shouldn't be an image, you should have a video. It should move and show all these great things. And like, yeah, I mean, you could do that, but is that really necessary? Like, is that the thing that's gonna get you the job you want? Probably not. I've heard mixed reviews about some of the portfolios that are just like super creative, like kind of outside of the box. Sometimes it's really awesome, and sometimes it's just like, okay, I just need to see your work. I don't have time. So it's up to you though. I would keep in mind that recruiters have 1 minute. Give yourself 1 minute, scroll through your page. And if you are not seeing high level things like your role in the team, who you worked with, tools you used, the process you followed, why you made certain design decisions, and how they turned out, to be honest, I would go back and redo it, because they're not gonna spend time going through all these different projects. I had a manager tell me that maybe they look at 2. Most likely they'll look at 1. So you don't need all these projects. You need at least 1 really good one, 2 good ones, that's it. That's good enough. And when you interview, you don't have time to show more than 1 or 2. 2 if they ask you, most times just 1 really good project, that's all you need. So I definitely would keep that in mind as I'm working on my portfolio. Like I said, I'll come back and do another more in-depth video on portfolios to kind of give some more tips with that. Now to finding jobs. Really good tips here is LinkedIn is so helpful. I actually have an alert set on my phone for jobs, product design or UX design in certain cities that I'm interested in working in. And you can do the same thing with internships. The cool thing is, as soon as it's posted, a lot of times, it'll email you and show up on your LinkedIn. And so you can be one of the first people to apply or even just know about the jobs, which really, really helps because they get so many applications. That's been helpful. You can use LinkedIn to even figure out who the recruiters are for those positions, and just figure out who you need to reach out to if that's something that you're interested in doing. You can reach out to recruiters, and I would say be active on LinkedIn, post things. I have had people reach out to me about internships and job opportunities just because they've seen my post on LinkedIn. So I'll post a YouTube video, I'll share something, I'll post something, someone will like it, and then their friend will see it, and their friend will like it, and then they so happen to work at some company, and then the recruiter sees it, and they're like, oh, who is this? And they're on my LinkedIn, and they go to my website, and it just that easy. So not just being a participant in LinkedIn where you're kind of just watching and liking things, be an active participant, post things, share your story, give tips, whatever it is you want to do, use LinkedIn because people will see it. Like I have had 7,000 plus people see a post, even if they don't react, they see it and it tells you the company that these people work at. So it's reaching really, really far. LinkedIn is such a powerful tool to use. And sometimes maybe it's not a recruiter, but someone else who works there will see it and they'll pass your name on to the recruiters of someone that, oh, we want to look at this person. Can you reach out to this person? Another thing you can do is there's a great site called interns.design. I'm pretty sure it's what it's called. If it's not, Google it, it'll come up. They post internships for all the different companies, maybe not all, but a lot of different companies. And they have the link to where you can apply. So I've applied through there and gotten some responses as well. And it tells you like if it's summer, if it's spring, if it's fall. It's a really, really great site. It's very helpful. There's another one like that, but I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's something similar where they'll post internships, which is very helpful. So that's the key, is just finding the jobs. That can be difficult too, especially now. So use those resources. Use your LinkedIn, make sure people see you, they know who you are, and that will definitely be really helpful. So a lot of people ask me about referrals. Did I get a referral? Did I use a referral? Y'all, to be honest, I had no clue what a referral was until after I got my second internship. I didn't even know what that was. Yeah. Basically, a referral is when someone at the company recommends you for the job. They'll put you in some tool and it'll put you at the top of the list and the recruiters will look at you first. It doesn't guarantee you'll get the job or an interview or anything. It just makes sure that they actually look at your application and read it and go through your portfolio and see if you're a good fit. So that definitely helps. And the people who recommend you, typically if you get the job, they get some type of money incentive. So a lot of people are great about writing referrals. I've not used them before. I definitely think that they can be helpful for somewhere you really want to work and you know that it's competitive. It can be helpful to have a referral so that they look at your stuff and see if you're a good fit, but it's not going to get you the job. So once you get that referral, you have to then do the work. Make sure your portfolio is good, your resume is good, like your LinkedIn is good because they check LinkedIn now. Make sure all that stuff is good to go and you're ready for these interviews and the phone screens, because if someone refers you and that stuff isn't ready, it's not gonna matter, right? So you wanna make sure before you apply, before you have that referral, everything is good to go. So it's just you submitting the button, they're submitting their referral, and you can get that first phone screen or interview. Oh, interviews. Yeah, these things can be so interesting. I have a lot to say about interviews. Honestly, I think I'm also gonna make another video about this. Personally, I feel like interviewing is a strength of mine, and I would love to share some of the things that I do to help me get past interviews and get jobs. I think I have a lot to say here, but too much for this video. So I'm gonna make a separate video about interviews. I'll also do app critiques probably in that same video, because some companies do that, or they do some type of design challenge. I'll talk about that too. But just general tips for interviews, just for this, I would say just be friendly and be excited to be there. Like, you'd be surprised at how many people are just, they give short answers. They respond to just the question that was asked, and that's it. They don't have any enthusiasm. They're very like nonchalant. And I know some people have that personality. Everyone's not gonna be bubbly and happy-go-lucky. But for that internship interview, I'm sorry, but you need to be like something, okay? Like something, because these people are imagining, do they wanna work with you? And if you're barely answering the questions, you're nonchalant, you're not that friendly, you don't seem interested, they don't know your personality, they don't know you. So they don't know why you're that way. They don't know if that's just who you are, and you're just an amazing person, you're having a bad day. They don't know, and honestly, they don't care because there's hundreds of applicants. So you wanna be enthusiastic, you wanna smile, you wanna be happy to be there, you wanna ask them how they're doing, how's their day doing. Seriously, when they ask you a question, answer the question and then respond with the story showing how you did that thing. So they love to ask behavioral questions like, oh, tell me about a time when you solved a conflict. So yes, I solved a conflict, okay, but then tell the story about how you solved the conflict and what you did and what other people did and what was the result. Another thing is be honest. When people ask you like that strengths and weaknesses question, which I hate, but they will ask you, what are your weaknesses? Be honest, because if you get the job, they're going to know what your weakness is. If you get the internship, they're gonna know. So I always tell the truth. I'm like, listen, I have this weakness, this weakness, this weakness. It is what it is. If they don't wanna hire me, they don't wanna hire me, and they don't want me there because of that, I don't wanna be there. Because I'm being honest with you and I'm telling you, this is who I am. I'm not perfect. I have things that I need to work on. I'd love to grow in those areas here, but if not, I'll grow somewhere else, okay? So be honest, don't lie. Don't try to make it seem like you don't have any weaknesses. That's not attractive. No one wants to work with a perfect person. Tell them the truth, but don't just say, yeah, girl, I'll never show up to work late. Nobody's gonna hire that person. Give them the weakness you have. Maybe it is time management, but what are you doing to overcome that weakness, right? So I'm using Asana, or I have calendars, I have Google calendars with a little to-do list thing. Whatever it is you're trying to do with your time management to improve it, you want to include that when you talk about your weaknesses as well, so that they know that you're proactive. If you're not actually doing anything to improve your weaknesses, you need to do something about that. That's not good. Yeah, work on that. But yeah, so be friendly, be honest, okay? Very, very important. Be like someone who acts like they want to be there and they're excited to be there. That's really helpful. And like I said, I'm gonna do another video on interviews because that's a whole other thing, and I want to give you guys some great tips there. So my last tip would be for management of the applications, because you can apply to tens to hundreds of jobs or internships, and it's hard to track. So I use this app called Hunter, HUNTR.com, and you can track companies you've applied for in the system. It's amazing. It's like a little spreadsheet kind of chart thing, and you can move things over. So there's like a wish list column, and you can put all the places you want to apply. And there's like your applied to, then you can move it over when you've heard from them, when you've got an offer. You can put in details like, when does the internship start? Who is the recruiter? Who is the contact person? What's the website for the job posting? Any information that they share with you or tell you. Salaries, like you can put all that in there. The offer, what is it? Did you get one? Did you not? It's amazing because I know a lot of people use Google spreadsheets or different things to keep track. That's too much, that's too much. Use Hunter, it's free, and it's an amazing platform. Sometimes it also will have job postings as well that you can look at and apply to, which is really, really great. But I really enjoy it. I use that to keep everything organized so that I know, and it tells you like, oh, you applied to this place 3 weeks ago, maybe you should follow up, and it'll give you those reminders, and you have that information in one place to know, oh, here's the recruiter, here's your email, let me follow up and see how everything is going. So that's my last tip. And yes, internships, jobs, it's so tricky looking for these things in this market, especially with what's going on right now in the world. But these are the tips I have. I'm gonna follow back up with some more videos about portfolios as well as internships and app critiques. So thank you for watching this video. If there's something else that you want me to get more into detail about, any questions that you have, definitely leave comments down below. I'm happy to answer them. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. I am happy to help. And I hope you have a great day and good luck on your internship and job hunt. Bye.